Hello, welcome back to the X-Files Revisited. We are on to episode 16 of season 2, Colony. Now, Brian, you teased the big things at the end of the last episode, so tell me,
I did.
How is this in the X-Files legacy?
I think this is very big in the X-Files legacy. I think any X-Files fan worth their salt would tell you this is a very big episode in the X-Files legacy.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Let's just move on to it, shall we?
Oh, do not make me nervous, man. You are making me nervous. There will be blood in the streets. Okay. So we open up, we've got like a misty setting, and we see like a light that kind of cuts through it. Turns out to be a helicopter. And then it kind of lands, and Mulder is wheeled into a military hospital from it. So we get a voiceover from him, and he's talking about the answers of his lifelong work having been answered. Aliens are here and have already begun to colonise. Scully comes in and says they've got to get him back into the cold because they took him from the Antarctic or the Arctic, and Mulder flatlines.
This feels like a season finale episode, right from the off. It just seems different from most of the other episodes. It's straight into this story. You've got Mulder telling you that he has seen conclusive proof that there is aliens. His life work has been justified in his eyes, and then we get the flat line of Mulder, Scully rushing in. We kind of know where that's going to play out because obviously there's further seasons, but still, it's a very different episode, and it opens with a mystery. You know, what the heck's happened? What's Mulder babbling about? What has he seen? Are we going to see it?
Yeah.
And it's pretty good. A pretty good opening. Absolutely.
Because to tell they spent a bit of money on it as well, flying the helicopter in and all the military gear and stuff. I love it. It's just, it gets you straight in, basically. Not a slow burn start, just straight in the thick of it, full of questions, but will we get any answers?
And I will say as well, this episode, before we really get into it, this felt fast. Like it was short scenes, it was boom, next, boom, next, boom, next. It just kept rolling constantly. Which is a good thing.
Breakneck. Lot of information in a lot of short, sharp scenes. Just, definitely breakneck pace for this one. So we get the opening titles, and then we see a bunch of sailors, fishermen or something, on a ship in the Arctic, and they see a UFO, which then crash lands. Again, straight into some special effects work. Really nice UFO crash, nice little explosion there. So it's like every scene just seems like right from the offset, kind of action-packed. A lot more to it.
We went from Mulder in the hospital, the helicopter, to a trawling ship out in the ocean. It's jumping all over the place. It's a really big story. It feels almost immediately. Yeah,
definitely. I will say overall, this two-parter feels like a proper X-Files movie. Like when we got the Dwayne Barry and Ascension two-parter, that to me felt, while I liked the individual episodes on their own, it never really felt like a proper movie. It felt like, here's this, this story that's kind of like a hostage situation story, and then we got this other one that has a completely different flavour. Yes, it's a two-part episode because of what happened to Scully, but it didn't really have that kind of movie feel in the sense that I think this two-parter does. You put these two episodes together, you could put this on the big screen and call it X-Files the movie, and I think I'd be sold, quite frankly. Okay, so we go to a hospital, and there is a doctor in there just kind of getting his coffee break, and he zones into the TV. There's something playing on the news, and we see Brian Thompson, being pulled out of the crash. They believe it's like a downed plane or whatever, but they found a survivor, and it's Brian Thompson. And the doctor makes a run for it, but Thompson is already there. He's at the hospital, and he grabs this guy, asks him where is he. That's all he says. He just says, "Where is he?" Kind of like very Terminator-esque. The guy doesn't know, he says, and Thompson kills him. Pulls out this weapon like a spike, stabs him in the back of the neck, and sets ablaze to the hospital. Basically, burns it down. More pyrotechnics.
It's a good tense sequence. I like the music in this sequence as well. I think that's particularly good. I've got my notes as well. This guy is the budget Terminator, and I think he's shot in such a familiar way. The way that the Terminator was shot, walking down hallways, it's always low angles pointing up to him, giving him size. He doesn't speak a lot. He's very minimalist with his words, using it, and he just seems like a threat. He is a shark, moving through the water here. He's got a purpose. He's moving towards it, driving towards it, and he is a very unique looking man. He's like the love child between Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger almost. But he is quite imposing, and he does have a very good look about him, just as he's doing these scenes.
Yeah, definitely. He's a perfect choice for this, and this is a character that is going to come back many times throughout the series.
Right, okay.
So just in case you were wondering if you're ever going to see him again, yes, you are. He is basically this series' answer to the Terminator, right down to the T-1000 shape-shifting, but we'll get to that. So Scully meets Mulder in the office, and he tells her about Dr. Prince, Buchanan, and someone else. I missed the name of the other doctor. But these three doctors, basically all working in separate abortion clinics that were burnt to the ground with them inside. And they all look identical, but there is no blood connection. So when Scully says, are these guys triplets? Mulder is adamant, no, they're not. There's no blood connection at all. Obviously this is an X-File.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like when Mulder throws up a softball, like a crazy circumstance, when Scully says an answer, you're almost expecting on the boom, it's triplets. Haha, I've got a scientific answer for everything you've got, Mulder. But it's just basically an information scene. But it is quite good because you're like, oh, three people that look exactly the same.
Builds intrigue. Everything about this is perfectly calibrated. It's just feeding you new information all the time, and it's always just enough to make you want more, to make you think, okay, well, where's this all leading? You never feel like you get there before them in this. You're with them every step of the way. What Mulder and Scully know, you know what they know, basically. It's really well done, really well written. Worth noting as well that David Duchovny had a hand in the story on this.
Right.
He got a story credit for this. He came up with the story with Chris Carter. Obviously, he would go on later in the series to direct a few episodes, as well as writing some more. But yeah, this is the first time he gets a story credit. I will say in advance that I do find Duchovny to be quite a good writer. It must be said. A lot of the stuff he writes in the show, when he's written the screenplay himself, he does good. He's a very good writer, it must be said. So I can definitely imagine his hand being in this. Okay. So they go to speak to the sheriff, and he thinks that Dr. Prince was killed by a radical preacher. But Mulder hazards a guess that they don't even have a body yet. And he's right. They don't. a piece of information he neglected to tell Scully earlier. But apparently none of the doctors' bodies were found. They've all been presumed dead. And the sheriff basically, he brings this preacher guy out, this radical preacher, and this preacher man tells Mulder he got a newspaper clipping of Dr. Prince from the local newspaper in Binghamton, because they found this newspaper clipping on him, and that's why they think, obviously because of his views on abortion as well, he's got this newspaper clipping, he's the prime suspect. What do you think of this scene?
Yeah, again, I'm really curious more than anything. Like, what is this guy? How many more of them are there? And what's going on? Again, I love the speed of the scenes. I feel as if there's no dilly-dallying around. They throw some information at you and they are out of there onto the next scene. It's pretty fast-paced, and I like that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so they go to the newspaper office where this guy got the clipping, and the lady there says that the man who placed the ad refused to leave his details, but he asked for his ad for a second week and didn't pay, just never showed up. So his ad ran for a second week, and that bill has yet to be paid. Meanwhile, Mulder figures out that there are more of these doctors out there, and that the killer is moving north. This is after Scully suggests that he might be getting set up. She kind of puts forward, she's kind of like, hang on, Mulder, just you're going at this like a bull in a china shop. You've been set up in the past before. Just don't be so quick to bite the bullet on everything, which is reasonable to say of Scully, I think. But they pay the bill anyway for the ad, so that they can then get access to the responses, because if you have a number on the ad, people, if they want to respond to the ad, they call this number and they leave a message. So they basically the ad was a picture of Dr. Prince, and it said, "Do you know this man? Have you seen him?" Obviously, whoever's placed it knows that there are more like him, wants to find them all. So so they check these messages, and it seems like there's a few people who've said that they've seen this guy in Syracuse. So obviously they need to go to Syracuse, find this guy before he gets terminated.
Yes. I like this scene. I like it because of the receptionist. I think she's pretty good for like a small bit part.
Yes.
And I like her line when somebody says, like, how would you go about getting access to the answer messages? And she goes, well, we'd start by paying the bill.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't care it's the FBI. She just wants this debt paid off her docket.
But the thing is as well, because of her performance, because of the actress, the way she plays it, she doesn't come off as a bitch, if you'll pardon my, like they could have easily cast someone who looked grumpy and mean and surly, and you just instantly get a feel for them as just being a grade A douche. You don't get that sense with her. She might be a little bit of an opportunist. She's realised an opening in which she can get the bill paid off, and she takes it. But she does it with a smile on her face. She does it with a fairly whimsical air about her. And so it's just like you say, it's one of them little side characters where it could have just not made a dent, but you notice her. For whatever reason, you notice her, and I think that's down to the performance of the actress. Mulder and Scully call a detective Vice to go and find one of the doctors. They've found this guy, they've got his address, and they ask him to just basically sit on him for a while till they get there. Don't lose this guy, make sure he's safe, no one comes up and kills him, whatever. So he goes off to do just that. Vice gets to the doctor's house only to interrupt Brian Thompson's killing of the man. He shoots Thompson, whose blood is green and poisonous.
Yeah.
And so we know, you obviously have flashbacks at this point to the Erlenmeyer flask.
Mm-hmm. I do like this. I like when he gets shot. I like the effect. It's such an interesting choice of colour as well, just the green. You know, it just looks weird. But his reaction is he starts clawing at his eyes.
Yeah.
I can't remember in Erlenmeyer flask if it killed somebody, or did we know what the gas did that escaped from the bodies in that one?
Well, I know it. I think it did kill, actually. Right. But Mulder was exposed to it, but not long enough to kill him. It just really dosed him over a bit. But
right. So when he gets gassed here, I thought it was affecting him in some way, but I didn't know that it was killing him. Which I'll allude to something in the next scene, probably. Yeah. But did you think of this one, Brian?
Just a really good scene. Again, it's that whole Terminator thing, isn't it? Shooting him, he's just unstoppable. And it just sets this character up, this Brian Thompson character, as the ultimate badass. It's just like we said, he is the Terminator. He's an unstoppable force. And it kind of sets up in the mind what, because you're obviously thinking of what happened at the beginning when Mulder was brought into that hospital. So you know that clearly at some point Mulder is going to meet this guy, and it's not going to go well for Mulder. So the fact that the more they set this guy up as a badass, the more you realise that both Mulder and Scully are in danger with him. Mulder and Scully get to the house, and Vice shows up, tells them that the doc is gone. Mulder and Scully go in to check inside the house, and Vice goes to his car, opens the boot to find Vice inside. Dun, dun, dun. What is going on? So Vice is in the boot, dead, and the alive version of Vice throws the keys into the boot with him, shape-shifts a la T-1000 style, back into Brian Thompson, closes the boot, and then walks away. Yep.
When the Mulder and Scully turn up and that guy's there, I was like, what the heck? I was literally like, he's been assimilated. He's now one of these, whatever it is. And then they get to the boot and you find the guy in there. It makes sense. It's a horrible, you see all the redness round about his eyes as if he's been clawing at them, and it looks disgusting. And then we get the shape-shifting, like you say, which is an effect that somebody was extremely proud of, because they rip the arse out of it every chance they can. And fair play to them, because it does look, it's not greatest as today's standards, but it still holds up pretty well.
Yeah, back then, I had seen the shape-changing effect in this and an episode of Star Trek. I can't remember if it was Next Generation. Certainly Deep Space Nine did. But I'd like to say X-Files did it first. But basically they're taking that technology that Cameron pioneered with Terminator 2 in 91. This is a couple of years later, and it's already being used in TV. But back then, I think this was quite a big deal to take an effect like this, which was only seen in big budget stuff like Terminator 2, and you're now seeing it on a TV show. It's literally all or nothing in this episode. We've had a UFO crashing, we've got helicopters, we've got ships, we've got violence, we've got gunshots, we've got blood effects, we've got shape shifting. It's just there's a lot going on special effects wise in this. They've pulled out all the stops, and for the time it was made, even more so.
But more than just that, it's got substance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you know, it's almost too much. You know,
Yeah.
you know, 'cause you should have said, shaved some of that off and put it to some of the crapper episodes. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So Mulder is brought in to Skinner's office, where Skinner chews him out and tears him a new one, basically, over the death of Agent Vice. And Mulder is absolutely shocked. He can't believe it, and he just falls over his words because he's like, and he can't get him out because in his head he's trying to weigh it up. They saw Agent Vice. How is this guy dead right now? So yeah.
Yeah, but in all fairness, like, they enter the house and then they never see the guy again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's no, like, I mean, they could have died like after they left or whatever. He just seems a little bit flabbergasted when he maybe shouldn't be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they see him going, just walking off down the path, don't they? So yeah, but yeah, but it's just Skinner getting in his face.
Yep, he's right back to his shouty best.
Yeah. So from there, Scully calls Mulder to tell him she got an email saying there's another doctor, Dickens, right here in Washington, rather conveniently.
Nice.
Because they've been grounded, so there's no way they're making any trips on the FBI dime. But they don't need to, because thankfully there's one in their hometown. So Mulder gets to Scully's, where he comes across CIA agent Ambrose Chapel, waiting to speak with him about the case.
What a name.
Ambrose Chapel, yeah. That sounds like a TV series in itself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Ambrose Chapel. Yeah.
Even the characters are creative names in this one.
Yeah,
There's no John Smith.
I could imagine a TV series just called Chapel.
Yeah.
You know, and the lead character is Ambrose Chapel. Yeah, definitely. But right off the bat, what do you feel about this guy?
I'm a little bit wary.
Right.
To start with.
Right, okay.
Some of the things he says later on bring me on his side.
Right. Okay.
It's a character that I definitely flip-flop on.
Yeah. It's hard for me to get back to that perspective because I've seen this so many times now that I just see him as the villain, you know.
Well, you know, you're always wary of this new character, but he introduces himself as CIA and then starts to talk to Mulder, and I'm drawn in. There's nothing he says that really sends alarm bells ringing. Straight away, anyway.
Except for the fact that he's trying to find these doctors, and we've seen that the bounty hunter can shapeshift.
At first, I can't remember, we'll probably get to it, but there's a conversation he has at one point that makes me go, look, that's plausible.
Right, yeah, okay. Okay, so once they're inside Scully's house, they have a chat. A lot of information in this scene. But Ambrose tells them that the men they're looking for are clones, the result of tests done by a group of Russian scientists during the Cold War. Operation Gregor, basically. That's what he refers to these men as, Gregors, the Gregors. Mm-hmm. He says these men have been positioned inside top medical facilities so that in the event of war, they can simultaneously contaminate blood supplies, essentially destroying the country's immune system. He says the government is allowing these men to be killed by a Russian hitman in return for their silence, as well as the research. He says it is the Gregors he says it is the Gregors who contacted Mulder. They trust him because of his reputation. Ambrose says he is the man who placed the ad in the newspaper. It was their response to that ad that tipped him off to their investigation. Mulder tells him they might know where one of the doctors is. So yeah, a lot of information. I think because his story is so
plausible.
Convoluted.
There's lots of details, and it just triggers Mulder because it's a conspiracy. You know, it's
clones.
Science, yes, clones. It's ticking every one of his boxes, and I'm sitting there going like, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, this guy's on the level. He's clone. Yeah.
And I think it's also the fact that this guy admits to being the one who placed the ad as well.
Yeah.
So because this.
It's during this scene. Initially, when we met him on the staircase, I was like, all right, I'm not sure. And then we got to this scene, and I was like, yeah, this guy's on the level. This is it. So obviously, you don't get that. You're just sitting there going, you liar. You.
Yeah. Like I said, I think obviously when I first saw this episode way back when, I probably was flip-flopping just like you did. But like I say, I can't get back there now after so many years. But so we have this scene in a warehouse, and there's a load of these green tanks, very reminiscent of the Erlenmeyer flask once again. The things inside them not quite as big. Obviously, in Erlenmeyer flask we saw full-fledged bodies. These turn out to be little fetuses. So one of the Gregors gets picked up by the crazy preacher lady from the Omen 4. Okay, I don't know if you've not seen the Omen 4, but
I have, but that didn't click.
Okay, yeah, she played the crazy preacher woman who got attacked by snakes in the Omen 4. Not her finest hour, it must be said. Okay, so Dr. Dickens and this crazy lady arrive at his apartment. When Mulder and Scully show up, the lady hides and Dickens opens the door. But when he sees Ambrose, he does the only sane thing that anyone would do and throws himself out of a window. Oh, man. It's 3 stories by the look of it. So, just before we go into the rest of this, because it's a pretty long scene, just talk about that moment. Again, it's just every step of the way, this episode is just action-packed. You know, like when you think they could go one way, they go another, and it's just like, there's just action all the time. There's so many beats, like this guy throwing himself out of a window, you know, it's a pretty striking thing to see when he just hightails it out of there and then gets up, you know. Mulder and Ambrose poke their head out and this guy just starts getting up.
It's a scene we've seen so many times in the X-Files where they go to question somebody, and even the 2 people inside the flat look as if they were expecting this with their actions, and they instantly just she lifts her jacket, goes away to the side, he continues with what he's doing. It's as if they've already got this pre-planned, and then they open the door and see the budget Terminator, who's not quite changed as yet, and that's when he runs and jumps out the window, and that's where it completely circumvents every other X-Files scene like this we've seen before, because that's the one thing you're not expecting them to do: jump out of a window.
It's just so random, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a great effect though when he's lying there and he just kind of curls himself back up, doesn't he, and then stands up and off he goes. Off he trots, and it kind of gives you the impression that he's another one of these Terminator guys. So okay, at this point you're just clueless as to what's going on. Intrigued as all hell, but totally I wouldn't say, I mean, I don't know what's going on, but I don't have time to dwell on it. I don't have a chance to think about it.
You're just really caught up
it's dragging me forward.
Yeah. Okay, so Mulder and Ambrose go in pursuit of the guy, and Mulder gets hit by a car. Another, stunt, quite pretty cool stunt there. Ambrose finds the doctor, turns into Brian Thompson, then kills him. Scully catches up with them. She comes across Mulder. Basically, he's there on the floor, really winded. I like Duchovny's reaction in that. I like the way he plays. He's just like, just go, get him. And then so Scully kind of Gets to the alleyway where we just saw Ambrose Thompson kill this guy. And Ambrose kind of just appears from behind a dumpster, says that he was cold-cocked by the doctor, and then just slowly walks off without any sense of urgency whatsoever, like next week would do. Scully just... Curiosity gets the better of her, so she just takes a little peek behind the dumpster where this guy came from, and all that's there is this green puddle that she stands in. She kind of brushes her shoe off and then walks off. And then as she walks off, the green puddle just starts bubbling away and hissing.
Yeah, awesome. That looks amazing.
Yeah.
I have no idea how they did it, but it's just super cool. And again, it's another one for you to go, look, I have no idea what the hell's going on here.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, it seems like with this episode there doesn't seem to be a single scene where there isn't at least some kind of special effect or stunt or piece of action going on. It's just thick and fast. I love it, absolutely love it. Okay, so Scully tells Mulder that Ambrose could be dodgy. So they're at the back at the office. Tells him that Ambrose could be dodgy. But Mulder says he checked his background. He's got a file on him. He is who he says he is. Scully says the case is screwy. But Mulder says it needs investigating. Scully says their investigation cost a man his life. But Mulder says he knew the risks. Which is a bit harsh there, I think, from Mulder. But okay. I feel like his passion to uncover the truth is maybe getting in the way of his compassionate bone there, but Scully shows Mulder her shoe, the one that she'd stepped in the green goo with, and there is now a hole through it. So this goo has eaten through her shoe. Then he tells her no clear cause of death could be found on Vice. So he wants her to go down, check out the body, have a look at the autopsy results and see if she can figure anything out. So
yeah, during this scene, Mulder makes, I don't know if it's a joke or a key statement where he's like, did I not tell you we trust everyone now? Yeah.
It was, whatever happened to trust no one? Oh, didn't you hear? I changed it to trust everyone or something like that. Yeah.
And probably the most impressive thing in this episode is the shoe, and to think that Scully actually chased down a perpetrator in that shoe. You're like, man, that woman has skills.
Yeah. They're essentially pumps, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're like
slip them on sandals. I don't know how, but well done.
It's Scully. She's hard as nails.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So Scully, they go to the body. Scully checks out the autopsy report, and she says that the blood was curdled like jelly. Which is
a terrific description.
Yeah, it's sick. It's quite disgusting.
Yep.
And it's just like, everything inside you. Yeah. Just, grim. It kind of gives you the sense that if you cut him open, he'd just, you could prise him apart and nothing would come out. It'd just all be jellified inside. It's really horrible. Mulder reminds her what Ambrose said about the doctors contaminating the blood supplies, offering this up obviously as a possible cause. She says she could look in the doctor's bag that they took as evidence. So the doctor who threw himself out the window, they got his bag. So
I love it. This super secret guy that's so cautious that even when somebody chaps the door, they take all these precautions to make sure that the life jackets and hide out the way, has the address of his secret laboratory on his case.
Oh, I love it. You gotta love it.
I do.
Okay, another agent comes in and tells Mulder that Skinner has been looking for him. Yeah. So we're expecting another chewing out here. I think Mulder goes to the office thinking he's going to get another telling off. But Skinner seems a bit concerned, and he tells Mulder it's not about that. It's a family family matter, your dad's called, I think you better go home, kind of thing. So that's it, Mulder just goes. Mulder rings his parents, who are a bit sketchy, like they're kind of not giving anything away on the other end of the line, it must be said. Scully comes in to tell him there's an address on the bag. The amazingly skillful, secretive doctor left his address on the bag. And Mulder tells her he's off home. So he just hightails it out there. It's almost like that passion that he had is just suddenly gone. He's off. He's got to go. They're split up now. So Scully goes to the address.
Yep.
Ruins another pair of shoes by standing in some goo. Then she sees Ambrose destroying the place. She leaves, makes a bit of a noise as she does so, and he kind of follows her out, sees her driving off in the car. And then we see Scully in her apartment. She leaves a message on Mulder's answer machine. She says she thinks she's in danger and may have been followed.
Yeah, and she's kind of sketchy, and again you have this threat of Scully being taken yet again. Which is, you're like, oh, don't go there, come on. Not again. Not again. She's tougher than this. But again, it's a nice tense sequence. I didn't know, this is when I obviously discovered that Ambrose was the budget Terminator. When he's wrecking that place. And it's quite a tense sequence as well, because you know they're separated, you know they're stronger as a unit, and apart they're not as great. So you're a little bit worried for Scully. That I am.
And from your standpoint, a little bit worried as to regards to the quality of the episode. Is it suddenly going to go downhill because they've split Mulder and Scully up? History in Graham's mind would say yes, but let's see what happens. So Mulder gets to his parents' house and is greeted by his dad. Not with a hug, but with a handshake. Very cold exchange, it must be said. His father doesn't come across as the most loving guy.
But it looks as if Mulder goes for a hug.
Yeah,
and gets a handshake, and that small movement tells you lots. It's terrific. I love when TV, movies, anything does something with a subtle little gesture that tells you everything you need to know about this relationship. Yeah,
it really does. And it feeds into the stuff with the sister. Does his dad blame Mulder for Samantha going missing? Does he wish Mulder would have done something? Or is there something else at play there?
And I'll tell you what else. It could be my mind playing tricks, but I thought his father looked remarkably like Deep Throat.
He does look a bit like Deep Throat, actually. That's something I thought way back when the series came out, and it did cause a little bit of confusion for me. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously it's not. And the actor himself is quite a well-known one, and his name escapes me just at the moment. But he's in a lot of these older movies, from like the 50s and 60s. So, but yeah, Mulder's mother is inside talking to someone, and Mulder asks, "Who is that? Who is that woman in there that Mum's talking to?" And his dad says, "It's your sister." Bombshell. Yeah. Were you expecting that?
Yes.
Because of how they'd set the scene up. You mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Before this episode started, not at all. But this scene with the family emergency, some strange woman talking to her. I knew, I suspected that's where they were heading. I also suspected that is not Samantha.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why. It's the same reason like earlier on Ambrose, I kind of believed his story almost instantly. I'm just like, I don't know if I buy this. It seems just a little bit too perfect. Strange.
No one in this episode is who they seem to be. And when you've got an alien bounty hunter who can shapeshift running around, it plants the seed of doubt in everyone. Mm-hmm. You know, like even Mulder and Scully. Are Mulder and Scully who they seem to be? You know, it's, and again, that's something we'll get to, but you want to believe her. At least I did. You know, you want to believe this woman that it is Samantha, but can we? That's the thing. So Mulder puts his mum to bed. We just get this nice little scene where he puts his mum into bed, kind of tucks her in.
Yeah, it's weird.
And you know, she's doubting a bit. She doesn't know. She's like, "Do you think it's her? Do you think it's really her?" Mm-hmm. And Mulder seems reasonably sure that it is. It seems like her. You know? Mm-hmm. So Mulder goes outside, and he talks to Samantha. And she tells him that she was returned at age 9 with no memory and placed with adoptive alien parents. One of these is Dr. Dickens. So not clones, or they are clones, but they're clones of aliens. So, you know, more questions. We get answers, but those answers only deliver more questions in true X-Files fashion. She tells him she's in danger from an alien bounty hunter sent to wipe them out. So basically these guys are aliens or maybe clones of aliens, and the bounty hunter works on behalf of the real aliens who basically sees these people as an abomination and has been sent to wipe them out.
Yeah, this is the conversation where I went, I don't believe her.
Right.
I don't believe her. I think it's because it's that novelty answer of, you know, I returned at 9 to 10 with no memory. And then she instantly goes into this kind of story of her adoptive parents and this bounty hunter. She just moves on to the current situation straight away. There's no, you know, like, oh Fox, I've missed you, or blah blah blah. It's just, she mentions a game that they were playing.
Yeah.
But then I'm sure that's probably in Fox's records.
Yeah, well. And
another thing, you know his name's Fox Mulder, but when somebody actually says it, it just sounds odd.
Yeah, and there was, if you remember, in the episode Tombs, Scully calls him Fox, and he laughs and shakes his head, and then she says, "What?" And he says, "I even made my mum call me Mulder." It's Mulder, yeah. So yeah. But yeah, it's quite a story.
Yes.
So do you think that it's strange, because obviously I know where the series goes. You don't. Do you think this woman has any ties to Samantha whatsoever then?
No.
Right. Okay.
Video calls are terrible things, right? I don't at all, and I think it's partially to do with earlier in the episode where Ambrose's story, where I was like, yeah, that's quite believable. You know, that once bitten, twice shy. You know, so the second time you're getting a story, you're like, nah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. So Scully leaves her apartment just before Mulder calls to tell her not to trust Ambrose, which I'm pretty sure she's cottoned on to by now anyway. Samantha tells him she might not recognise him, as he has the ability to look like anyone. Only she can tell, obviously, because she's one of these people. Although, not that Mulder knows that at this point. But Scully gets onto a bus, phones Mulder to tell him where she's going to be staying, and then we see Brian Thompson. And this is my only quibble in this entire episode, is what's he doing on that bus? Like, I could understand her getting on a bus and then them stopping at the next stop and then him getting on the bus there. But if he's following her, how is he already on the bus? He'd have had to have known that he would have to have known that she was getting on that bus.
Well, he could have gotten after her. She's one of the first ones on the bus.
I don't remember seeing a line of people.
Yeah, there's a few people. She kind of pushed by
there?
them. Yeah, I was like,
right.
Get to the back
okay,
of the queue.
I'll take that. Like I said, to me, this episode is perfect. So if you're going to tell me something that makes it even more so, then I will take it. So that no quibble, no flaw. He just climbed on after her. So
although that mobile phone, that's wow, that is a piece of technology.
That is definitely a piece of technology. It's a brick with an antenna on it.
It's a self-defense unit.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, you could definitely take someone out with that. Okay, Scully goes back to the warehouse and she finds some kind of fetus.
Hang on. She's got a utility belt, Brian.
She does. She has what is known as
a fanny pack.
A bum bag. Yeah, I was just going to say what's known over here in the UK as a bum bag. For our US listeners, obviously a fanny pack. Okay. Swiftly moving on, she takes a device out of her bum bag, which is basically used for breaking and entering. Mm-hmm. She proceeds to break and enter. And she, like I say, she finds this fetus on the floor, which had been stood on by Ambrose. Mm. She picks it up, and it moves. The thing is still alive. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, 4 Dr. Gregors kind of just appear, try to do a runner, but she kind of pulls a gun on one of them, tells them to stop, and another 3 appear, and they say that they need protection.
Again, more and more questions. That little effect of the fetus in the bags, another great effect.
Yeah, like the effects budget for this episode must have been off the scale when compared with other episodes. Mm. There's such an abundant level of effects going on here. Like I say, nearly every scene has something going on. Mm. Matt Beck had his work truly cut out for him when he did this one. But okay, so these doctors need protection. Scully has the men taken away into protective custody, I should say, while Brian Thompson looks on from the rooftop. Mulder calls Scully's motel, I should say, but he hasn't checked in yet. And he leaves a message with the dumbest hotel manager in history.
The most forgetful man ever. Who seemingly doesn't know how to use a pencil.
Like, he's literally told the name of the person that Mulder wants this message leaving with, and then literally in the space of breaking the lead on his pencil, he forgets, and then the person who it is comes in through the door, and he doesn't twig. He just like, oh, you're the one. You know, it's like, yeah. He's pretty funny though, this guy. Mm-hmm. I like how they play him. I like how the actor plays him.
No, so, definitely. Just the kind of day.
They cast well. Yeah, just a grade A idiot, isn't it? Okay. So Scully comes in to rent a room and then goes to have a shower just before her mobile starts to ring. Yeah. It's like, how many calls is she going to miss in this? Yeah. Seriously. Mulder missed a call. Yeah, it really is. Like, she phoned Mulder first and he missed the call. Then he phoned her, she missed the call. He's phoning again. She's not there to answer the mobile. It's like, flipping Nora. Okay, so the bounty hunter gets inside the federal stockade where the Gregors are being kept. Obviously going to kill him. Now, this is like a really low-budget I'll be back scene, because we get our Terminator going into a prison to get these guys.
It's more like you'll be back and bring my coffee when you come back.
yeah, pretty much. I
feel a bit crap for that guy that gets told to go and get coffee.
Yeah, you'd feel like highly responsible, wouldn't you? When you come back, find these 4 men dead. And, well, that's if you even find them. You just find 4 puddles of green goop. So you'd just be wondering, how did these guys escape? Why did they want to escape when they wanted to be held in protective custody? But, yeah, okay. And then we get to our last scene in the episode. Mulder arrives at Scully's hotel room just as Mulder calls her on her mobile.
Yeah.
What a cliffhanger.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So,
yeah.
Do you want me to go for this one, or do you want to go first here, Brian?
Go on, you wrap up, because I want to know your overall thoughts on this. I've got a pretty good feeling I know already. We've been pretty good with this one.
I think it's a pretty decent episode, one of the best ones of this season. It moves along at a breakneck speed. Great special effects, very decent story. Even thinking back over the story, you don't really figure too many plot holes. You know, sometimes things can move so fast that it takes just thinking about it after watching it to discover any issues. It keeps you constantly guessing, so it keeps you constantly wondering what's happening. And I think it's... Now, how do I put this? It's not my favourite episode of the season so far.
Really?
But it is the best score I'm going to give it. Like,
right.
You know, it's 5 out of 5. It's the first 5 I've gave for this season.
Okay.
I think it does everything fantastically well.
So it's one where, when you examine it purely on technical terms, you've got no choice but to give it 5. But on enjoyment terms, there was one that you just enjoyed a bit more.
Yeah, I think we've discovered before that the legacy episodes are ones that I enjoy, but I'm not attracted to. I do prefer more kind of Monster of the Week kind of episodes, personal preference, but there is not anything, there is nothing that I could mark this episode down for at all.
Yeah.
It's engaging, it's got a great story, it's got great characters, it's got a fantastic mystery and special effects. There's no way you can detract from it at all. It's only when it comes to our top 5 lists that it could. I mean, it's probably going to be high up there, but there's an episode that I kind of prefer at the moment. But hey, things can be changed. But yeah, 5 out of 5 for me.
Okay. I think we obviously know what I'm going to give it. It's definitely a 5 out of 5. I just think it's as perfect as an episode of X-Files can get. Like I say, there's just nothing to fault it. And the one little fault I had, you kind of, you ironed that out. It's just great. All the periphery characters we've had, little side characters, that they've all been really fun to have just in this episode. It's just, I love this villain that they've set up, this alien bounty hunter. Like I say, he does come in the series several times. He's like one of the big villains of the series. We've got Cancer Man, we've got Krychek, and this guy is kind of the face of the aliens, really. So it's just good to have this badass alien dude in. Another really good villain. I love it. I love the mystery of it, the questions, where's it going, what's going on with Samantha right now. This is an episode in which we've got stuff to do with Mulder's sister in it, and it's not annoying, It's not dragging the episode down. It doesn't feel like they're trying to hit you over the head with, Mulder's sister. It feels extremely relevant. It feels like, this is it. This is the real stuff. Not just some episode reminding you that Mulder's sister was taken. Yeah. It's actually dealing with it. It's actually getting into it. So, Love it, absolutely love it. Scully's great in it, Mulder's great, Skinner's great. 5 out of 5, perfect.
Yeah, okay. Well, at least we don't have an irresistible situation.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Endgames.
Endgame is, for me, just as good as this. To be honest, it's a really great conclusion to what is overall, for me, one of the best two-parters in X-Files history. I love it. I'm as equally gripped by the second part as I am by the first part. Off memory, I've not seen it for a good few years, so I don't know. I could be letting myself in for a disappointment, but I doubt it very much. So,
excellent. So that's something to look forward to on the next episode of X-Files Revisited. Endgame. Is it Endgames? Endgame.
Endgame.
Endgame. There we have it. So see you next episode.